Yeah, no, it's great. But this guy, what, 3 push-ups, shows up, becomes the biggest thirst trap.
From the whole crew thinking that Daniel Dae Kim, who played Fire Lord Ozai, would burn the entire set while they were filming, to Ken Leung, who played Commander Zhao, thinking that he is auditioning for James Cameron's Avatar.
I didn't know about it. In fact, when I first heard that it was for Avatar, first of all, the audition was not, you couldn't tell it was for Avatar. So it was kind of disguised as a different project. And when I first heard that it was for Avatar, I thought I was going to be Blue.
This is the Avatar, The Last Airbender, best behind the scenes and on-set bloopers. Number 16. Out of all the cast in the Avatar series, Fire Lord Ozai is probably one of the best casting choices Netflix made in this live-action adaptation. The Asianness, the presence, the body, the Giga Chad jawline, the spectacular performance, Daniel Dae Kim has it all. And I am not the only one who says and feels that. In fact, while interviewing him, he shared a hilarious scenario on set about the first time he wore the costume of Fire Lord Ozai. And he was totally shocked by the reaction of everyone on set, including the director himself.
To me, in wardrobe and full makeup for the first time, I remember walking onto set and people were naturally kind of getting out of my way. And, I would hear the occasional, whoa, whoa, and...
Well, if I were part of the set, I would do that for His Highness. But for number 15, half of the crew and cast got sick, all because of a CGI boat. Well, let's have Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, or our fire dragon of the West, tell the story for us.
There was a day that we were on the Volume. The Volume is a big virtual stage, and there's like literally thousands, almost millions of LED lights that projects. And in the middle of it was a big boat, and the artist had rendered a port and the waves, and they had built in this subtle rocking motion, so it felt like you were actually on a boat, and half the crew got sick because of that. They got motion sick. Even though the set was moving, your brain, that's how good the virtual stage was.
I guess that Uncle Iroh made them jasmine tea to cure their sickness right away. But for number 14, you won't believe how crazy the story of how Paul Sun-Hyung Lee got his role because he thought he was auditioning for a basketball movie. If thinking he was auditioning for a basketball movie was crazy, number 13 on this list is hilarious because Ken Leung, who plays the ambitious hero of the Fire Nation, Commander Zhao, which he played so freaking well, thought he was auditioning for Avatar, The Legend of Blue.
First of all, the audition was not, you couldn't tell it was for Avatar. So it was kind of disguised as a different project. And when I first heard that it was for Avatar, I thought I was going to be Blue.
Well, Zhao is a firebender, and James Cameron's Avatar 3 will introduce the Fire Na'vi, so maybe you might go there, Ken. But for number 12, our boy Gordon Cormier almost got fired in a very funny way, and it's all because of banana cakes.
I would like to say banana cakes. Like, they were delicious on set, and they were just so nice to look at. Like, I'm just staring at them, I'm like, can I eat them yet? And they're like,
dang,
no, 6 more takes, come on.
We're just all talking about food.
Acting is much harder than eating banana cakes, right, Gordon? And explaining to Sokka what Appa looks like is as hard as acting itself. Because at number 11, when Aang is awakened from his sleep, he finds Appa. And Sokka's reaction to his description is, well, a very Sokka thing.
Have you seen Appa? My sky bison? 6 legs, horns, brown arrows, sky bison. Sky bison!
Repeating it doesn't help.
From the very start, Sokka didn't like Appa that much, right? That's why, for number 10, when he decided to go and save Aang, Katara had a bright idea on how they could go to save Aang faster than riding a boat, which is to use Appa to fly. And Sokka's reaction to this was hilarious. That's freaking funny, right? But I bet my cabbage that it's not as funny as number 11 because Sokka, looking at Momo eye to eye, said one of the most spine-chilling words a man could ever say. Talking about food, number 9 is because Uncle Iroh wants Zuko to take a break and eat food, but it ends up making a hilarious moment.
Zuko, you must try this. It's got... what's it got?
Quail pole egg.
Quail pole egg. Very good for...
Vitality.
Vitality!
And speaking of Zuko, by watching him in the series, which is played by Dallas Liu, one of his lines almost resonates with the DC villain, And this is what I'm talking about.
I don't think your father would want you.
My father has banished me until I find the Avatar, and that's exactly what I'll do.
Do you hear that? It sounded like he said he was about to go on the Joker rant. Do you want to know where I get this scar? My father. Kind of funny to think, right? And continuing their food journey, for number 8 on this list is the moment when Uncle Iroh was giving wisdom to Zuko. It was a heartfelt moment for Zuko until Uncle Iroh got distracted by hunger.
You want to ask a Fire Nation commander if they've seen the Avatar? If word gets out, everyone in the world will be looking for him. I could lose everything.
Calm yourself, Prince Zuko. One thing you must learn is how to get what you want without divulging your true intentions. You must use your tact, your empathy. But most importantly, you need to have sticky rice.
Number 7. After touching down on Kyoshi Island in episode 2, where the gang met the brave warrior Suki, Sokka approached her, and she roasted him like what a firebender did to air nomads. I mean, that's not a good analogy, but you get my point. Well, that's a burn. But right after Suki roasted Sokka about his duty of being the guardian of their village, at number 6, Suki, like Uncle Iroh is sticky rice, Suki couldn't resist the delicious meal when she saw Sokka naked.
Someone needs to put a bell on you.
There's food in the village hall.
That's kind of delicious. Suki, just like in number 5, where Sokka is eating an apple and telling jokes about what Katara is saying about Aang being the savior of the world.
Gotta admit, he has a way with people. He knows how to connect, to get through to people like he did last night. That's his real power. Connection, building bridges. That's how he's gonna be the Avatar.
Right. There goes the savior of the world.
Seeing Sokka in action, on and off the set of Avatar, made me think that Daniel Dae Kim is second to Ian Ousley when it comes to perfect casting. Don't get me started with the shape of the face. The moment that truly convinced me he was the perfect one was when I watched their interview with Rotten Tomatoes' YouTube channel. He and the rest of the gang were asked which element they most wanted to bend in real life and the element they least wanted to bend. Ian Ousley answered that during the training to learn some bending. He learned how to use all 4 elements, and he wanted to have the use of water. He said that he doesn't bend the air element. Then Gordon reacts and defends his element. But what Ian Ousley said is the thing that Sokka would say in real life.
And then definitely air is least by far, because it's just.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you not seen what Aang does with that stuff?
Where your homies at?
Damn, he is the master of firebending. That was brutal. Just take a look at Gordon's reaction. He is so done with the airbending slander. But if that was brutal, number 4 is lovely. Because while the gang were trying to enter Omashu, they met a guy named Jet who helped them get inside the highly guarded gate of the island. Before the earthbender checked the cart, Katara asked Jet how sure he was that they were not the enemy. Then he looked into Katara's eyes and said something that made Sokka release his last breath of disappointment. Sokka's bad luck didn't end there because, for number 3, when they met the mechanic, he was amazed by the thing that would make him go from being completely curious to being like, "What the hell did you just say?" mood.
This stuff is incredible. I mean, look at this.
Those are for cleaning under your toenails. It can get bloody.
And speaking of mood, for number 2, while Katara and Sokka were arguing about who the real enemy is, Katara walked out. And when Sokka asked where she was going, Katara said,
Where are you going?
To prove you're a jerk.
Oh, yeah? Well, I don't need proof of that.
Lastly, the number 1 on this list was when the gang went to the spirit world. See, while they were walking on a path that the big birdie told them to follow, they encountered a wounded and angry spirit. It attacked them, and when it was going to bite Katara, his brave brother Sokka threw a stone at it and said,
Hey, Skunky, why'd you pick on someone your own size? I didn't mean me.
If you ever happen to watch all 8 episodes of the live-action adaptation, leave your thoughts in the comment section below which hilarious moments that made your watching experience more enjoyable and fun. And what is your take on the live-action adaptation? Is it good or bad? Well, for some it's great, just like what this one fan said. I'm waiting for the next season. I just finished this series. Really amazing. Love it. Another one followed. The cast was absolutely perfect, and they are doing a great job. I spent more than 8 hours watching it the day it was released, and it did not disappoint. Waiting for season 2. And there are some negative comments saying, watching it, and it's so bad it's not even funny. They have been changing just about everything the original show created, and it's just boring. This series is a big pile of crud. Terrible acting, terrible directing, terrible characters. Very cheesy. Well, in my personal opinion, the casting is so great that I don't even know what these negative commenters are talking about. If you read a thread from Reddit and Twitter, they are basically saying that no one will watch the series. But come on! In its first week, it's number 1 in 84 countries. Most importantly, the casting is much better than the last movie from 2010, isn't it? So, if you want to know what is the reaction of the original cast of the 2010 movie, The Last Airbender, to the Netflix live-action adaptation of ATLA, click this video right here. Also, don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comment section on which element you would want to bend in real life.
Water, because I'm always wet.